We're here at Create this week and recording some very special podcasts for Nation's Restaurant News. We're going to be interviewing 8 different executives from restaurants and also from the investor community to explore different themes from each of the chapters of the path to digital maturity. Hi everyone, today we are joined by Jason Crane, President of Slutty Vegan. Now, I don't get past, Jason, any of my presentations that I give without talking about Slutty Vegan these days. I am a big fanboy, I have to say. The community that Slutty Vegan has been able to build in a relatively short period of time is astounding. Hundreds of thousands of followers. How many units do you have now?
We have 12 units.
12 units.
12 units right now, yeah.
And yet the following is like competing with some of the biggest chains in America. So we're really thrilled you're here. Obviously you have a background with Amazon, Shazam, you come in from these other verticals as well. So really interested to get your perspectives on some of those too. But our main focus today is on our second chapter of our book, which is about converting fans.
Yeah.
Fans that perhaps maybe have been discovered through a third-party marketplace and are coming through your direct channel, and I'm sure you've got some great stories to share with us. So thanks for being here.
Listen, I am very happy to be here. Our Slutty Vegan journey has been a roller coaster, but yes, we've had a lot of growth over the last few years. And for us, and for me specifically, you mentioned my background. So coming from Amazon, having my own tech startup, you learn certain things about driving traffic. You learn, my first job out of college is Google, right? So I worked with brands like Estee Lauder, L'Oreal, Colgate, Clorox. These brand powerhouses taught me, one, how to operate a brand. How, like, they're so proud of their brands, right? And they respect that same type of pride, and they expect you to honor them in a certain way and to work with them in a certain way. And so for me, that time at Google, in terms of learning how to be data driven, learning how to drive conversion traffic versus brand traffic, right? That is something that it's really part of our strategy today. That there is a difference and you have to approach it differently.
So we're a big fan of saying, hey, if you look at what happened in other verticals, consumer products, travel, retail, and you say, that's probably going to happen in restaurants, it makes you a little bit clairvoyant, right? You can tell the future. And I feel in many ways that Slutty Vegan is the future, right? Because they have taken these lessons from these other verticals, many of which you worked in and we're just talking about, and applied them to restaurants in a way that other restaurants are just learning are important. And as you think back on, putting the brand together, instilling those lessons, like what are the top 2 or 3 things you feel like you were able to leverage from other verticals to really give Slutty Vegan an outsized voice online relative to the 5?
Yeah, so I would say first we had to learn to engage our customer. That is something that's just been important since day one. As it relates to like some of those other verticals, I already talked about being data driven, being insights driven, making decisions based on the data that you have to better optimize whatever the situation is. Pinky, our CEO, came from the media industry. So when you think about how we position ourselves in the media, how we speak to our customers, just how we engage with the public, her expertise is spot on. And what she really drives from her side of that media engagement is that two-way, that dialogue, right? It's not just about her shouting one thing at our customers, it's about this two-way conversation. And so you see that in how we run our restaurants, because that insight, there's the data, right? There's the reviews, there's all the segment data that we now have as available to restaurants, but then there's just straight customer interaction that can never be replaced.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. And again, I'm fanboying here big time because it is about that digital conversation. One of the best things I think is a way of trying to speak about that is just looking at your Instagram profile. Even on your bio, you've got your text number, you've got the call number, I think 855 Hey Slut, right?
Yep.
The shop, Slutty Vegan shop. So you're encouraging multiple channels, multiple ways for people to be able to engage with your brand.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Take us through the logic.
Yeah. So, like I said, like for us, our customer is everything, right? We wouldn't be here without our customers. So in order to be better for our customer, in order to drive a better experience for them, we have to listen to them, right? And we try to take it a step further. Right? It's not just about listening and making these robotic changes, if you will, but it's about the dialogue and truly understanding and using that as data to go back and then make an overall, decision that makes sense for everybody. So for us, when you have access points to communicate through our text messaging, through our website, through our social media, through our survey results, we use Tatto, and we really driven with our employees and our crew members to make sure we're encouraging people to take these Tatto surveys. And then not only after you have the customer take them, we have to then go back and pull out the insights and make strategic decisions from it. So, those access points, that two-way conversation, that two-way dialogue for us is really why our customer trusts us. Because they know that once they speak to us, not only will they be heard, but we'll actually take response if it's something that needs to be improved or fixed. We would be nowhere in our journey if we hadn't listened to our customers.
Do you set a particular target for yourself when it comes to responding to your customers, whether it be on an Instagram message or on Tatto? Is there a good frame of reference here?
Yeah, so we respond to every social media DM, we respond to every Google review, every Uber review, but we have a full-time customer service team that is monitoring those for urgent needs. If it's like an order that is messed up or something like that, there's direct communication. If it's something more feedback driven or something that we need to take back and maybe investigate further or whatnot, it might take a little longer to respond, but we're very focused on responding. And I think that's, if you look at our reviews, we have 4.9 ratings, on average 4.7 across all of our platforms, and that's because our customers know we take them seriously.
I love. Did you hear what he just said? Maybe we should stop and appreciate that for a moment, because you asked what percentage of messages do you respond to, and he said all of them.
Oh yeah, it's not it's not even an option, and it can be daunting, right? Having to have those conversations can be challenging, right? But for us, it's been imperative to our growth. And the challenge is, how do we continue to provide that level of one-to-one service as we get bigger, as we scale, right? We've been able to use services like Slang that uses AI from a calling perspective. We have other technologies and tools that we try to be open-minded with, and we're very open to testing, but that is something that's top of mind. How do I continue to just drive that one-to-one engagement while we get bigger?
A lot of smaller operators will say, well, that's all good for the 500 unit chains, but you're making it work with 12 units. And I think that should give hope for everyone that you've been able to make it work. Organizationally, have you had to outsource this? Are you building your own? How do you make it work?
Yeah, so again, I came from the tech industry, so when I came into Slutty Vegan, I had a mindset that I was thinking tech first and kind of restaurant second, not intentionally, but that's just how I was wired, right? So that allowed me to really think about all the entry points and be very open to just being receptive to those platforms. And there's tons of them. There's so many out there. So when we think about technology, we want it to be useful, we want it to be frictionless, right? Like, can our employees adopt it? Can they retain it? Can they use it? Is it driving value? What is the ROI on this technology? Is it something that we need, or is it a nice to have? Is it too complicated? Are the insights clear and manageable? Because sometimes you can have all of these numbers, but without the right people to analyze them, you just got a bunch of numbers.
Well said.
So we try to, I don't know if I answered your question, but when it comes to looking for technology opportunities, we want something that is going to help us do what we do better, not do what it wants us to do, right? And sometimes that can get lost when you think about driving down OpEx costs, and you can get very robotic, right? And so the future of Slutty Vegan is experience driven, and we just had to think about that from day one. It's like building a software, right? You don't build Facebook for 10 people. You build Facebook for millions of people, right? So looking at how we was going to design this restaurant, we wanted to say, how do we build this for everyone and not just for the Atlanta community? So that means thinking about scale from day one. And technology is a part of that process.
I don't think you'd have been able to get there without you coming from a technology background. I think that we've spoken to a number of people today already that haven't necessarily always come from restaurants. And I think by you coming in from that technology background, it's not like you've got the model
I don't.
from before. So in that sense, it's freer, it's more empowering that. And I think more and more restaurants and their exec teams are starting to bring people in from other verticals now for that exact reason.
And my, I'm a collaborator. For me, Pinky and I, we're not putting up barriers or walls between us and the other information that's out there. In fact, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. The restaurants have scaled the great brands for the last 100 years, right? And they have done them well. We consume a lot of them often. So I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. However, I do want to approach it differently, right? So there's some things when it comes to the nuts and bolts are very, you do this, you do that, I get it, right? But when it comes to our approach to the world, when it comes to our approach to our customers, to our employees, to our menu, and to how we're branded, we're gonna think outside the box a little bit, right? And that's our aim, is to continue to drive value, but do it in a way that we can have the best of both worlds.
I love it. One of the other things I really love about Slutty Vegan is that it seems designed for first-party ordering from the get-go because of that direct consumer relationship that you have across those many channels that we talked about. And so rather than trying to do what everyone in the industry is talking about right now, which is 3PD to 1PD conversion, how do I pull those people across from the marketplace into my first-party channel? You started starting with them first party to begin with. Was that purposefully so? Did you think about that as you were designing all of those customer interfaces?
So we love our brand. We like to put our name on everything. So it started with just knowing that we had to own our own domain. We had to own our own experience. But we got started on third party. Like Uber Eats is a part of how Pinky started the brand, started the company, right? So we understand the value of it. It's a great discovery platform for us. And for our customers, they find us on a lot of our 3P platforms. However, when it comes to that 1P experience, we want them to be different. They're not the same, because the third-party experience is going to get access to our product, but then that's the entry point to our world, right? So you order the food, it gets there, you open the bag, you see all of our amazing branding on the bag, even on tape that you open that has a QR code to get access to this whole other world. There might be an insert for a coupon or some type of incentive, or another QR code that, again, gets you access to our loyalty app downloads, to our website, to our Instagram, to all these amazing other ways to engage with us. And then from there, if you're gonna love the food. So after you love the food, then you're like, okay, maybe I might scan this QR code. Or that one night stand that I ordered was these menu items are pretty cool. Let me check out the menu.
That is an item on the menu.
That is an item on the menu. The fussy hussy, the sloppy toppy. But those things get you to think about what else is there. And then you do a Google search and you find out about how amazing Pinky Co. is, and you see all these articles, you see all the philanthropy. You go to the social media and you see how fun it is to work there, and you see how people are happy and laughing and dancing. And so that 3P delivery order is just an entry point into our world, right? And we guarantee you that once you get into our world, it's going to be distinctly different than the other. And we try to make that very clear in our 1P experience. You get access to our loyalty program. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate other high frequency moments that will make that customer want to come back to the 1P app versus the third. We have a 60% higher frequency rate when it comes to our app.
And do you mind sharing on your digital orders between third party and first party what the split is?
I won't, but I will say that our first party outperforms all but one of our 3P partners. And it's because people come back to it. We have over 70,000 people engaged in our own mobile app, and that's an experience that we can change, and we give them secret menu options, we give them free food, they can amass all these loyalty points, and I think they love it, and we want to continue to make that experience different.
That's great. And again, with so few stores, so if we took that 70,000 people over 12 stores, we're talking more than 5,000 people per store.
That are ordering, and 50,000 of them are ordering at least once a month.
For such a small new brand, that's an incredible accomplishment to be bringing all this.
Yeah, we don't know many folks like you guys. Let's explore a little further. You mentioned a moment ago about that conversion mechanic. So QR codes, you mentioned certain promotions that might draw people's attention. So do you find the promotional material on the outside of the bag, on the packaging? What works best here? What have you learned?
The old adage kind of mantra of you got to see it 3 or 4 times and then the customer will take an action, right? We tried to kind of follow that, right? All the time. We just screaming Slutty Vegan at the top of our lungs, right? And we believe that from the packaging, we believe in aesthetic, we believe in, again, the experience. Even on the receipt, there's opportunities to further engage. So yeah, we want to tell them often and as loud and clearly as we can. Just give them those opportunities to engage with us.
Mm-hmm.
We have a saying that no matter how much discounting you do or even shouting about the brand that you do, it will never overcome an app that is difficult to use or a website that is difficult to use. And I imagine with your tech background, you totally agree with that. So talk about how you make that ordering experience on first party as frictionless as possible.
Great question, because nobody wants to open an app or go to a website and it's like 1992 and it's slow to load up, and you push a button that says order here instead of going straight to an order page. You got to click through 2-3 more options to get to the actual menu where you can order. That user journey, that customer journey, I spent a lot of time in my background learning about that and optimizing that journey. And so for us, yes, you're right, we want it to be frictionless. We have good partners. AppFront is our first party partner, and they create a strong technology that we've been able to grow together over the years. And so they help us with the core technology, and we're just very vocal about what that experience is, but we want to make it for the customer to be as seamless as possible to do what they need to do. We don't want to add a bunch of different click points and throw them a lot of stuff that they're not asking for. There's going to be time for that, and there's space for those other things, like LTOs or merchandise or selling them other opportunities. But when they want to take an action, let them take that action and get them there as fast as possible.
Help them with their core mission.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, let's finish up this question. I'm going to invite you to look into our imaginary crystal ball in front of us, Jason.
Okay.
You've also got a background in augmented reality.
I do.
You were talking about this before many people were talking about augmented reality. So what future do you see? Maybe, 10, 20 years into the future. Does it play a role in the restaurant space? How could you see it playing out? Because that way we can come back to this in 10, 20 years' time and say, Jason said it first.
Listen, so yeah, I do. We're in growth mode. We're opening a bunch of stores in new cities, new states, and I spend a lot of money on new store openings. Well, I used to. I've optimized that quite a bit. And when you think about training, when you think about training staff where you don't have staff already, the HoloLens and some of the technology that's out there when it comes to augmented reality and virtual reality, it's a lot farther along than it was 10 years ago. But I do see a world where I can train burger builds or recipe preparation through a HoloLens or through some type of augmented reality, or your cell phone, right? Google has the augmented reality product as well. So being able to just utilize technology that people already have to enable them to learn how to do the things we need them to do. And I think kitchen prep is an easy opportunity to create those experiences where people can learn with sort of hands-on.
Awesome.
Let that out.
Fantastic. Well, I've enjoyed this. I'm sure you have as well. Jason, we really appreciate it. Please say hi to Pinky from us. You guys are doing some amazing stuff. And I think, if anything, hopefully our listeners, especially for those that are in a similar size of restaurant group to yourself, it shows it can be done. It just needs the right perspective. So congrats to you and the team.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Digital Restaurant Podcast is available for you to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Watch us, rate us, and subscribe to The Digital Restaurant on YouTube, and follow along on all our social media digital restaurant channels. Thanks for listening.